So, hello. It's there's some sort of delight apparently happening, and it's all just seemingly wonderfully free, free of anyone being in delight or having delight, free of anyone, free from anyone being anything or doing anything, knowing anything. There is just what is, so simple, so free, and this is apparently the way it is. Not even for everybody, but just simply no separation. This is an exposure that there is no separation. So a suggestion simply happens, as it were, to expose that there is no separation. There's no two, there's no one, there's no none. It just is what is and isn't. It's all totally free, boundless, unconditional, vibrant and alive, timelessly so. There's no agenda with this meeting, but there's no agenda at large. The appearance of agenda is just an empty appearance that seems to come about in a dream, but that's also without agenda. So there's no agenda. There's no meaning or purpose or significance at all. All there is simply is freedom. And because it's freedom, it has no sort of destination or direction, dimension or location. It's just simply all there is, and it's nothing at all. So it's not going anywhere and it's not coming from anywhere. There's no real movement. There's no real progress or process. All of these apparent things are just appearances, which wholeness appears as. Not become, but just simply appearing. There is just simply what appears to be. And it's empty and full. It's nothing and everything. It's real and unreal. It's all there is. And some kind of exposure would seem for some bodies apparently to allow that, for want of a better term, allow it to become more apparent or obvious. But that is the suggestion is that that is the end of a dream that is apparently going after it. So no one wakes up, no one becomes enlightened, no one gets there. There is no there. This exposes that already is there, just total freedom, boundless enlightenment for no one. It's all there is. So there's no claiming, owning, knowing, doing, or relating. Freedom is already timelessly all there is, intimate, immediate, wild and free, spontaneous.
Is there movement?
Well, movement is an appearance.
Because you often refer to the flow. So
Hmm.
is there movement? Is there, it's not stagnant. So is
No,
there
it's not.
some type of,
It's not really stagnant or moving. It just is all there is, and movement and stillness are both simply appearances. Yeah. It's
okay.
said that it's flow because it's just effortless. You know, everything is just flowing, even the appearance of tension, contraction, even irritation, agitation, you know, everything is already flowing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you say that there is no awakening because there is no one? Yes. There's no real awakening because no one wakes up. The dream isn't really happening. Awakening is an illusory process of the end of a dream of separation that's not really happening. And is there only awakeness? This wouldn't call it awakeness because that suggests again that there is someone awake. The awakeness you could, but it's sort of misleading, it seems. Whereas aliveness, it seems to be more impersonal somehow. Again, they're just words. They're just words and terms, but it seems that aliveness is all there is, and yet it's not separate. There's no separation.
I think even aliveness would, I mean, the me would misinterpret anything anyway, but aliveness
Yeah,
could be misinterpreted too, that it's something is alive, it's born out of something else that's dead or non-existence into something that is existent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no word is ever going to cut it, really, is it? I mean, aliveness,
Yeah.
awakeness, even beingness, um, it just is nothing. The word nothing seems to be the best word, isn't it? Because it's just not definable. It's nothing at all.
I know, that's like a sword.
Yeah,
Because if I think of aliveness, it's like I think of a leaf that's alive versus the concrete or something
right,
that is
yes.
not alive. But that's probably my own mishigash.
Yeah, yes. Aliveness that is not in relation to death or dead.
The me would find a problem with every word, including nothingness. It's just trying to imagine some void or something because that's what the me does, right? Whatever you're saying, the me tries to find something problematic with it.
It seems to try, I mean, again, it seems to try to understand this or to pick a bone with it or to avoid it. There seems always, again, seems to overly use that word, seems to overly complicate all of this. Yeah, it's radically simple.
Alexis, I just wanted to say that the twofer of you, of the speaking, the sharing, and then Joey's workout is really, you know, it's really fantastic. It's all inclusive. It's wholeness.
Yeah, it's great.
But the other thing that was coming up was when you and Morella were talking, and Morella was asking about Jim Newman saying that there's the appearance and then there's the felt sense, and Morella was asking about that apparent differentiation, and then what was funny was in the response you said something like, well, it was kind of, you said something about how the contraction creates a sense of location. Do you remember? Yeah, I mean, gosh, I know it feels like aeons ago, even though it was a few days, but it was trippy when you said that the contraction creates a sense of location. Does that even sound accurate? Did I capture what you said?
It seems to be more like the contraction is an illusory sense of location, not creating. It seems to
Ah,
be an actual illusory sense of location. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
which is why it's never really discovered. This so-called it, as though it was a subject or an object to be defined. It isn't. It's not even real at all. It has no substance and it has no real location because it's not a real it. But as as a dream, as an illusion, it seems to be the appearance of location, yeah,
Yeah,
and yet it's not even happening.
yes. And like I've heard people ask in all different versions of this about contraction, like that, and then I've heard people say that you'll never know the contraction until it's gone, or or yeah, actually, I've heard people say, but that seems kind of funny as well, because who would know
Yeah,
that
exactly. Yeah,
the contraction's gone? I mean, yeah,
yeah. No one's going to know that the contraction is there or not there.
yeah,
Yeah, the end of this apparent location is the end of relating to anything that's known, felt, sensed, or perceived.
Andreas said it was like falling asleep and never waking up.
So, yeah, yeah.
I like that.
No one doesn't care if there's a contraction or not, absolutely. It doesn't matter.
I'm watching Joe. I'm, wa- I'm watching Joey, and I'm wondering if he's going to if he's actually going to be going out for the next Spider-Man movie. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a distraction.
It's all right.
Well,
There's nothing to be distracted from anyway. It's all good.
okay.
Is the contraction the same as me?
Well, the word me just seems to be ambiguous, really. There is no me.
Of location, the sense of being separate.
Yeah, so it's suggested that the contraction is an appearance of an illusory appearance of location and self-sense, but there's reluctance to call that a me because there just isn't a me. There's no me. The contraction isn't a me. It's not an object or a subject. It's just an illusion. There isn't a me already. There isn't really a contracted energy already either, but
But is it possible for as long as this feeling of me exists, that is it possible not to care if it's sensed as if you have a feeling of being separate, is it even possible to not care about that?
but there's no one really having a feeling of being separate. There's just an illusion that seems to feel, it's the illusory appearance of separation. Yeah, but whether it cares or not, that doesn't really matter. I mean, it's going after something or other, whether it likes it or not.
The illusion of caring could appear too.
Yeah, It tends to want something.
And then the illusion is an illusion.
The illusion is
I've down the rabbit hole.
yeah, the illusion is that there isn't an illusion.
Yeah. Phew.
I mean, there are some bodies who, who will say that there's a separation experience, but they're just not really that bothered, and they don't seem that much to be bothered. There's still the appearance of seeking and that going on, but it's not sort of whereas other bodies, again, story time, other bodies would seem to be terribly, terribly neurotically obsessed with fixing something that's not even broken, you know.
But I mean, also, Alexis, isn't it quite possible? I mean, any comparisons fail, right? I mean, in terms of, because regardless of whether or not they happen or not happen to be disturbed uh, by by apparent separation, chances are they're disturbed by one thing or another. I mean, isn't every illusion of the separate self has its own streams of things that keep it. I mean, nothing's doing it, but the separation exists in some form or another.
So I don't quite understand the question.
Well, so just then I thought you said that there are apparently individuals who have separation and somehow just aren't very bothered by it.
Yeah.
And then there are individuals who it drives them nuts, the idea that there's separation of the me or whatever, like a bear hug. But fundamentally, it's not like the people who don't happen to be identified with being separate aren't identified with a million other things that keep the illusion of the me going. I mean,
Yeah, identity is just another illusory story that would seem to appear out of a dream of, an identity being another story.
yeah, yeah.
And that's all seemingly very important. And there is no individual already, yes. Yeah. And it seems to be boundless freedom, pretending to be an individual.
In the story, this contraction just vanishes in an instant. Is it possible? Or is just a gradual process always? I mean, there's no rules, I know, but
well, there's no rules, but there's no time either. When this apparent collapse apparently collapses, the whole sort of thing it just totally falls apart. All stories apparently go away with it, and then the story that there ever was a story collapses too. It's a total hopeless collapse of everything. So yeah, no time, no gradual or immediate. I mean, it may seem to be sudden or gradual, but neither is actually real or substantial or timely. Yeah. Yeah. Because one thing that apparently falls away with this all is time, like as a real linear line of past, present, future. So that even the sense of time being a real constant just totally, hopelessly collapses. So it was never really a gradual or a sudden change or shift, or there was never even a real liberation.
But the story of liberation may appear.
Well, not outside of a dream.
Not outside. Well, nothing happens outside of the dream, does it?
Nothing happens, yeah. And it's not meaningful or special.
Seems like it.
Oh. No, there's no difference. There's no separation. Therefore, there's no difference. No difference means no superiority or inferiority or hierarchy or whatever. I mean, there are appearances, but they're just appearances.
This appearance is not real, but we don't know. I mean, no one exists, so no one knows what it is. Wrong question. It can't be denied, the seeing and the hearing, and no one does it, but it appears. And I don't know, it sounds like a denial of the appearance.
Well, that's not what's being said.
Hmm.
There's an appearance, apparent appearance of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, perceiving, thinking, feeling, and so on. And all of that is nothing appearing.
Mm.
And even a body apparently saying all of that is nothing is nothing. It's not denying or confirming.
So, Alexis, you're not talking because you're right or you know. And Morella isn't talking because she's not right and doesn't know. Talking is just happening.
Yeah, talking is just appearing, it's just appearing to happen, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean I'm not right, Maureen?
You're left.
Alexis, I wonder if you would mind talking about, well, nothing. So when you say that disappearance is nothing,
Mm.
is there another way to explain this? Sorry.
Would you prefer if I said this is everything?
Okay, I'm happy with everything.
Yes, for this again, the various misinterpretations that can seem to happen would seem to turn nothing and everything into a glass half full, half empty situation. But nothing is everything. There's no difference, there's no sameness, there's no separation. So nothing is everything, everything is nothing. There is only no everything. It's all there is. And this word nothing would seem, again, as an interpretation, will distort that word and conjure up an idea of some black void of vast space where there is no object in it, as though it's like some sort of massive empty space. But that's still a something. That's still an idea. It's still a thing that mind apparently conjures up. But nothing is, it just is indefinable, undefinable, incomprehensible, indescribable. It's nothing to be defined or explained or gotten hold of, and that's all there is.
So whatever the mind conjures, it ain't it.
And that's also nothing, yeah.
And that's
So
also,
the appearance of a trying to understand, the appearance of a thought, a misinterpretation, an opinion, a belief, memory, whatever's happening is nothing. There is only nothing.
thank you. This killed all the questions because there's no answers.
That can seem to happen.
Well, the questions are nothing too.
Yeah. Yeah. Questions, answers, comments, responses, stuttering and you know, sort of trying to figure it out or trying to stop trying to figure it out and sitting quietly or impatiently or bored or whatever. It's all what is. Whatever's happening is what is, timelessly without agenda or meaning.
Okay, since no one's speaking, I can just tell a story. So I went to the vet this morning with my dog, and whenever she sees that building, she starts shaking like a leaf because she's so scared. And she's been shaking for like trembling for like 10, 15 minutes until the vet came in to give her a shot. So you and other people say that there's no me in I mean there's no me anyway, but there's no sense of me for animals. So when she experienced fear, was there any sense that I'm afraid or this fear belongs to the dog, or it was just fear? So she wasn't suffering, was she?
Well, not suffering in the sense of a separate individual having a separate experience to fear, relating to fear, and then trying to reject, avoid, neglect, suppress, or do something about the fear. It's just fear.
So it was worse for me than for her, probably.
Well, worse is, again, an ambiguous word because better and worse all also lives in the dream of me, like the illusory dream of separation. Yeah.
Sure, I was projecting my me onto her.
Well, that could be happening, but that's also what's appearing. You know, that's a story where there's a me and there's a not me, you know, and all this and that.
Yeah.
There's already no separation. Yeah. Fear and response and care. Yeah.
Mm.
There's no way to know this, but there was a phase in my life where I lived in back to the land kind of a phase with a bunch of friends, and we lived in a place that was remote and had many animals, goats and dogs and cats, um, and sometimes if one of the animals was hurt, there were people in the area that knew how to treat it, but we were too far away from vets a lot of times to have someone come. So these people that were pretty familiar with whatever would just come and treat them. And I remember, like, energetically, this is just a huge story. Energetically, it was so interesting to see an animal go through some kind of treatment, including like something being removed from them that involved a knife and stitches and stuff like that. Like, because also part of this play is to take humans, to help humans go to medical treatments and stuff like that, and all the me's thoughts about what they should have done and what they shouldn't have done, and I shouldn't have eaten all that butter, or like whatever all those ideas around that is. But when the animals would be operated on and stuff, there was just such a strange absence of there was just an absence of of time and causality and all those things. It was really palpable, and I can't really describe it, but it was so striking to me. Yeah, just it was so different. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, one time, one of the little doggies got his paw hurt in some in relationship to some moving vehicle, and I just had such a sense that the doggie wasn't thinking, "Oh, I should have never run near that car." I mean,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, it was just like, "Oh, hurt," like, "Oh, something's hurt, something doesn't work." Not even
Mm,
that,
Not
really.
even that, yeah.
Like, not even that.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm curious, Alexis, if thoughts of should and shouldn't still come up in that body.
There's not of that body.
Well, in that appearance. You're making it hard for me to speak.
This isn't special or impressive, it has to be said. It's not like there's some specialness to this. But yeah, shouldn't falls apart. There's the appearance of conditioning, you could say, like body again apparently tends to speak in a certain way, tone of voice, body language, composure, eats certain foods, this and that, speaks to certain people in a certain way, blah blah blah. It's quite simple, but there's not the echo of the story apparently trying to navigate life. Life is just totally so-called life or death or just all there is. It's just free. Shoulds and shouldn'ts would appear mostly, if not completely, on the whole sort of sense of shame. Like, I should behave this way. I shouldn't do that.
More like they shouldn't.
Or other people shouldn't.
Shouldn't have done.
Yeah. Can you speak about so-called impulses? So there's just immediacy. There's not even someone being impulsive when me falls away or when there's just whatever. There's no relating, there's no position. It's immediate. All illusory distance collapsing. Immediacy is all there is.
It's very sweet when you look up, Alexis, because the light shines on your face in a way that looks like you're going to be transported somewhere, like the rapture.
Oh God. Oh dear.
I saw your lovely picture together with Tony.
Mm,
Wonderful.
mm. Yeah, that was back in February,
Uh-huh.
PAX Lodge.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
Where are you then? Are you at the bar?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could see my arm. I'm right
Really?
next to Tony. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yes. Since then, my right arm has been very enlightened. Everything else is not that much, but
Like the opposite of Achilles' heel. Yeah. Well, the spot will now be known as Joey's elbow. Well, now that I know that, the photo is even better. I didn't think it could get any better.
I was thinking about the gradual thing that was asked earlier, or the sudden. And I remember Tony saying it a long time ago. He called it, there's an intelligence to it, he says, because there can be so much energy in the initial stuff that it can't stay like that, because the body is simply not used to functioning in that open way or something like that, in that open energy. So it just, in a way, it has to come back, as because it would just, I know me personally, I would have dropped that if it stayed like that, because there was just so much energy to it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. This can all be quite overwhelming sometimes.
When Joey was differentiating between a leaf and cement,
Hmm.
um, there, what is not aliveness?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 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 Aliveness is sort of another word for energy, because it's suggested that it's all there is, and there's not like cement here and then a leaf there. There's no here and there. There's no distance. There's no separation. There's no two. There just is energy or aliveness or nothing. Whatever, pick the word and there you are. It's all there is. So exactly, it's not like this rock is not aliveness and this tree is aliveness. There just is aliveness, treeing or rocking or whatever. But again, aliveness or nothingness, it doesn't really matter what word is used. Some words seem to expose, but it's not really about words. It's not about anything. No concept would really bring that about, because there is no bringing about. It's interesting what you said, Joey, about like this sort of apparent gradualness. It's like with yoga therapy, for example, when a therapist is working with a child's body that has like profound cerebral palsy, you're not just going to like open the arm up totally in one session, like and like force all of the tendons and the muscles to like totally open. No, it's going to take some apparent time. There's like working with the little joints and the tissues, the fascia and all of that. And if you just blow open the doors, that's obviously going to do more harm. Not anyone in that ever already, but Yeah, body can seem to apparently gradually. It's all illusory, of course, but it just seems like, yeah.
The way it felt for me as I was like a device that was, 110 volts, and then I was being plugged into like 360,
Mm.
So I know that it just would be impossible for the body to immediately function in them. It was just simply too much.
Yeah. Yeah. So-called liberation is not always well, body can suffer, apparently. I mean, anything can appear, really, and yet nothing is appearing.
So the intelligence to the appearance that Joey was talking about, the intelligence to this energy relaxing, that intelligent, is that just a concept of the mind?
Yeah, it seems to be. I mean, intelligence really seems to just be another appearance. This doesn't tend to say that there's intelligence because it tends to it seems to suggest that there's some sort of creator or some force behind so-called things. Then you could say there's the appearance of intelligence. I mean, you think about the human physiology for a start, with like however many muscles it is, 640, and this, hundreds of bones and endocrine glands and nervous system and lymphatic system. I mean, it's extraordinary, all happening for no reason at all, of course. But no intelligence behind that. That just is seemingly an appearance of intelligence.
My mind is twisted like a pretzel after I heard that the intelligence in the appearance is the appearance. So there's no way to define this appearance. There's absolutely no way to say what it is other than nothing and everything.
There's no defining at all, no.
No. So frustrating.
No. Conceptual understandings may seem to happen, but it really has got nothing to do with getting nearer or further away from anything, because everything is already timelessly non-separate, immediate, and free. There's no validation that anything is wrong and right. It's already done. There is only absolute freedom. Does irony live in the story of me? Not sure, really. I've possibly need an example, but I'm not sure if that depends on an illusion. Humor, of course, is total. Like, I mean, if anything, humor increases for this at least. Apparently, again, always apparently. But about irony. And yes, intelligence isn't important. Nothing is. No importance whatsoever. The humiliating exposure that nothing is important, meaningful, significant, purposeful whatsoever. And there's not even anyone in the first place. Timeless, immediate, spontaneous, free-flowing aliveness is all there is. No ownership, doership, knowership, or relationship. There is only absolute freedom. Much love. Thank you.
Thanks, Alexis. Thanks, everybody. So much love.
Thank you.
Bye.